In this presentation, I will be discussing the 2010 teen comedy Easy A, which was directed by Will Gluck and stars Emma Stone as the lead character Olive Pendergast. The movie brands itself as an anti-slut-shaming film. While there are positive ways the movie tackles the issue of slut-shaming, ultimately it reinforces the harmful stereotype. For those of you who may not have seen the movie, I will give you a brief summary of the plot. The main character, Olive Pendergast, is 17 years old and attends Ojai, California high school. Olive narrates her story through a webcast that traces her change in high school from a student who goes unnoticed to being the notorious whore or school slut. While Olive likes the attention she receives for her reputation as being sexual at first, the rumors take on a life of their own, grow in negative intensity, and make school the center for bullying and verbal attacks by her peers. Olive uses her webcast to disprove the rumors about herself and critique her peers for labeling her in the first place. Olive's narrative is received as sympathetic because throughout the story she displays herself as intelligent, humorous, and full of generous spirit. Her narration provides viewers with a sense of authenticity as she discredits the sexual rumors. Thus, even though Olive never says, "Stop calling girls sluts," the message is clearly communicated. Easy A goes beyond condemning the word slut and tries to address underlying cultural narratives, focusing on the gender double standard. When Olive is overheard lying to her friend about having sex, the rumor quickly spreads and she has an immediate change in status. Soon after, Olive pretends to have wild sex with her gay friend Brandon at a party. While Brandon is greeted as a hero at the end of their pretend sexual encounter, Olive is labeled as a dirty skank. Other unpopular boys come to Olive asking her to have pretend sexual relations with them, and they seemingly climb the social ladder, while Olive's reputation, safety at school, and educational experience worsens. Thus, the movie shows that girls with a reputation for being sexually active are susceptible to quick and painful condemnation by their peers. Boys, however, tend to escape slut-shaming altogether. The movie also points out the sexual violence and rape culture that are enhanced through slut-shaming and the use of slut-shaming discourse. Still, while Easy A condemns sexual double standards, the movie is problematic in that it relies on individual problem-solving rather than systemic change. Easy A suggests that by simply telling your story, the slut discourse can be dissolved. It also still associates women's sexuality with immorality, which is at the root of the slut stereotype. Olive obviously displays a lot of privilege as a white middle-class girl who fits into traditional beauty norms. The ability to change one's own reputation may be less believable for characters whose social positioning does not fit into these categories. In this way, Easy A fails to recognize slut-shaming in its relationship to women of color and women from lower-class backgrounds. The people who are most important to Olive's life know she isn't engaging in any sexual activity, which brings her comfort. Therefore, Olive's choices about sex are essential to her identity, even though the movie seems to claim that people should not be judged according to their sexual behavior. Olive also never has sex throughout the movie, which encourages the idea that it is only not okay to call a girl a slut when she is in fact still a virgin. When her best friend asks if she had sex, Olive says, "I am not that kind of girl," which implies that if she did have sex with someone, she would view herself as a bad person. This inherently negates the entire movie. The DVD cover also reinforces Olive's characterization as a chaste and therefore good person. It features Olive holding a sign labeling her a good girl affected by a big rumor, with derogatory remarks in the background. The ultimate message is not that slut-shaming is bad, but that slut-shaming a sexually inexperienced girl is. The sexual activity of secondary characters are also portrayed as negative. Olive's best friend Ree is pinned as sexually desirable due to insecurities, and Olive's mom admits that she slept around because of low self-esteem. Thus, engaging in sexual behavior is portrayed as behavior of women who are emotionally unhealthy. The school guidance counselor, Mrs. Griffith, is a character whose sexual behavior is most prominent. However, she cheats on her husband and gives a student an STD, which she blames on Olive. Here, the clearest expression of female sexuality is aligned with dishonesty and abuse of power. While there are both good and bad parts to the way Easy A addresses slut-shaming, I encourage viewers to critically think about their own biases against sexually active women. Slut-shaming has extremely severe consequences, which we can see with the amplification of bullying, sexual violence, and rape culture happening not just at schools, but everywhere.